Welcome to the ultimate tour of the Norwegian Getaway. We're going to show you all the restaurants, bars, entertainment, and activities that this amazing ship has to offer.
We're starting this tour off here at Deck 6 because the lower decks are for crew and passenger staterooms, with the exception of the medical clinic on Deck 5.
Now here on Deck 6, you'll find a variety of complimentary and specialty dining, bars, entertainment options, and also guest services. We get this tour started at the front of Deck 6.
This is the entrance to the Illusionarium.
While we never caught a show in the Illusionarium on our cruise, we did get a chance to take a quick peek inside. Next to the Illusionarium, guests will find the card room, photo studio, and meeting rooms.
So the card room is also the library, and it has games with a nice hand washing station here.
Just a little further back on Deck 6, you'll find the atrium. Here you'll often find games and entertainment during the day, and a talented musician at night. We found the atrium to offer a lot of comfortable seating and drink service from the nearby atrium bar. Speaking of the atrium bar, this was probably the busiest bar on the ship, but it does open up early and makes a delicious Bloody Mary. Right next to the atrium bar, you'll find a Starbucks, which was always very busy in the mornings. While the drinks from Starbucks were not included in our Easy Plus drink package, we did find their prices to be similar to their brick-and-mortar locations. Right next to the atrium, guests can also find the Internet Cafe, the Cruise Consultant Desk, and the Guest Services Desk. Just a short walk from the atrium bar, guests will find 678 Ocean Place, with its beautiful giant chandelier and a lit-up glass stairway. 678 Ocean Place is also where you'll find Le Bistro French Restaurant, and while we didn't dine at Le Bistro during our cruise, the restaurant's menu did sound amazing. Right across from Le Bistro, you'll find Headliners Comedy Club. During our cruise, this venue was used as an art exhibit during the day and transformed into a dueling piano bar at night. Right next to Le Bistro and Headliners, you'll also find Teppanyaki, the Japanese hibachi-style restaurant. Here, you can enjoy one of the restaurant's signature sake cocktails while watching a chef prepare your meal right at your table. Just a few steps from 678 Ocean Place towards the rear of Deck 6, you'll find yet another of the Getaway's great cocktail bars.
One of our favorite bars!
This was our go-to spot to grab a pre-dinner drink, as it's located right outside of the two complimentary dining rooms, Taste and Savor. We found the two dining rooms to offer identical menus and to be very similar in layout, although the color schemes were very different. While we never did dine at Savor, we did enjoy a breakfast at Taste. While the breakfast menu selection at Taste and Savor was a bit limited, we did find the quality of the food to be pretty good, and generally a bit better than what you'll find on the breakfast buffet. And we both agreed that our favorite breakfast item was the delicious French toast. Before we wrap up on Deck 6, there's one more thing worth checking out. Here at the very back of the ship, you'll find this impressive model of the Norwegian Getaway, which we found to be very helpful in getting oriented with this massive ship.
One thing we really like about the layout of the ship is that on Deck 7, you can walk around most of the ship.
And speaking of Deck 7, that's what we're going to show you right now. Now here on Deck 7, you'll find more complimentary and specialty dining, as well as the casino, the theater, and even more bars. We'll start our tour of Deck 7 off at the rear of the ship, where you'll find the third of 3 complimentary dining rooms, the Tropicana Room. As the Tropicana is the only one of the dining rooms with a stage and nightly shows, we found this spot to be the liveliest of the 3. But while the atmosphere at the Tropicana Room is different from that at Taste and Savor, the nightly dinner menu options are the same. On our dinner visit, we ordered the ravioli and spring rolls for our appetizers, and the vegetable pad thai and roast beef for entrees. While the service was a bit slow and the pad thai was a little bland, the meal was quite good overall. Our dessert order included the Cherries Jubilee and the Boston Cream Pie.
Oh, look at that jiggly cake.
It's really jiggling.
And while this jiggly pie was alright, the Cherries Jubilee was our dessert favorite. Just a short walk from the Tropicana Room, you'll find the Shanghai Noodle Bar, which serves a variety of Chinese noodles and fried rice. And while we did love the looks of this restaurant, we have to warn you that it was a bit smoky due to its close proximity to the casino. Right next to Shanghai, near the rear entrance of the casino, you'll find Bar 21. And right next to that, you'll find the ship's nightclub, Bliss. While we never made it to Bliss for the late night dance scene, this was one of our favorite spots to catch some live music earlier in the evenings. We absolutely loved the atmosphere at this lounge and found the service to be quick and the seating to be comfortable. Just outside of Bliss, gamblers will find their spot at the casino, which stretches across nearly half of the entire 7th deck. One thing we liked about this casino was that it connected to the atrium, making it feel much less closed off than casinos on many other ships. Right next to the casino, you'll find O'Sheehan's Bar, a great spot to grab a drink any time of the day or night. In addition to the wide selection of drinks, this 24-hour bar and grill offers a variety of appetizers, including these wings and spinach and artichoke dip. We really enjoyed the dip, and although these wings were not crispy at all, they did have really good flavor. O'Sheehan's also offers a great complimentary dinner alternative to the main restaurants, with burgers, sandwiches, and some other options to choose from. We ate dinner here on one night and had amazing service and some pretty delicious food as well. Our order included fish and chips, a Reuben, and this massive blue cheese covered burger.
Wow, that's really good.
And while you can't go wrong with any of the things that we ordered, make sure you don't forget to ask about the daily specials.
The special of the day was meatloaf, and you didn't even think about ordering it.
In addition to food and drinks, O'Sheehan's offers quite a few arcade games, plus some more traditional bar games like pool and darts. And at the end of O'Sheehan's, closest to the front of the ship, you'll even find this miniature bowling alley, where during our visit, you could bowl one game for $7. Now that you've seen O'Sheehan's, we've got just one more place to take you on the 7th deck. And here at the very front of the ship, you'll find the box office. And right next to that, the entrance to the theater. We made it here on one night of our cruise, where we caught a performance from this incredibly entertaining magician.
You can get outside and walk around here on Deck 7, and while you won't find the bars and restaurants that you'll find one floor up, you will find the shuffleboard courts and some really nice views.
And today we're ported next to the Independence of the Seas. Now we do have some tips for those of you who enjoy a good cup of coffee like we do. Now unlike some other cruise lines that we've been on, specialty coffees are not included in our drink package. Now there is a Starbucks on the ship, but the lines there have often been long and it's been a challenge to find a specialty coffee elsewhere. We found though that O'Sheehan's does have an espresso machine and they can make lattes and cappuccinos. Now it is going to cost you around $4 for one of those, but in our opinion it's worth it. And O'Sheehan's is open 24/7, so you can get a cup of coffee any time of day or night. On Deck 8, you're going to find even more options for specialty dining and bars, as well as a little bit of shopping and a ton of outdoor space to explore. Our tour of Deck 8 starts towards the front of the ship at Sid Norman's Poorhouse. With its sign out front reading cold beer, cocktails, and rock and roll, this sure did seem like our type of establishment. And while there were unfortunately no live performances here during our cruise, we did still enjoy the old rock house vibe. And even though we didn't get to see any rock bands play here in the evenings, the stage was still put to use each night, as the bar became the place for karaoke. Right next to Sid Norman's, you'll find La Cucina Italian Restaurant, another one of the specialty dining restaurants. We found La Cucina to be easily the best looking of all the restaurants on the ship. Just a few steps from La Cucina, you'll find the Sunset Bar, a great spot to pop in for a drink before your evening meal. Right next to the Sunset Bar, cigar aficionados will find their spot at the Humidor. And while we can't say we know anything about cigar smoking, we did find the atmosphere at this cigar lounge to be pretty cool. If you head outside on Deck 8, right next to the Humidor, you'll find another great spot to grab a cocktail at Sid Norman's on the waterfront. We should also mention that the Deck 8 waterfront is a pretty great spot to enjoy a martini at sunset, a late evening stroll, or a full moon over the Caribbean.
Right now there are a whole bunch of birds that seem to just be like flying along with the ship.
If you're enjoying this tour so far and want to see more cruise tours like this one, plus other Florida and Caribbean content, be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn the notifications on. At the central atrium on Deck 8, you'll find one of the most beautiful places on the ship, plus several more spots to grab some food or a drink. One of those spots is the Ice Bar, which is open for just a few hours each day and does cost extra. Right next to the Ice Bar, you'll find one of our favorites.
This is the Mojito Bar, and when it's open, it is packed.
Here you'll find 7 types of mojitos to choose from, plus other cocktail options. And if you can't decide on just one type of mojito, you can always order a flight. During this visit, we ordered the jalapeno cucumber and raspberry guava mojitos, and both were incredibly tasty. As much as we enjoyed the mojito bar, our favorite bar and favorite bartender can be found just outside.
This is what we're looking for.
We got a whole side of a ship to ourselves and an open bar.
So the Sustainable Bar is right outside of where the Mojito Bar is, and they always have a drink of the day where they use ingredients that otherwise wouldn't have been used elsewhere on the ship.
That's made with real bananas, you know. There's a lot of cooking and hard work under this. So what we do, you know, we collect all those bananas which are ripened, you know, which are edible, but which doesn't look good on the buffet or not.
Right.
We try to reuse them instead of, you know, throwing it in the garbage.
While we absolutely loved the concept of this bar, we loved the quality of the drinks just as much. And we have to admit that the view was pretty amazing too. Every single night of our cruise, we enjoyed some time at the Sail and Sustain Bar with Naveen while sampling each delicious cocktail of the day. If you happen to see Naveen on your cruise, be sure to tell him hi from Jamie and Skylar, and thanks for putting up with our shenanigans. Now that we've shown you our favorite spot on the ship, it's time to head back inside to show you some more of Deck 8. Right next to the atrium, you'll find the Raw Bar, your go-to spot for oysters on the getaway. And just past the Raw Bar, you'll find Wasabi, the best spot on the ship for sushi. And right next door to Wasabi is Ocean Blue, another great dinner option, especially if you're a fan of seafood. Now, if you prefer to enjoy your dinner outdoors with a cool Caribbean breeze, you can do exactly that on Deck 8 as well, right here at Ocean Blue on the waterfront. Back inside towards the rear of Deck 8 is where you'll find the majority of the spots for shopping, including Tradewinds Duty Free.
Shopping is not open right now because we are in port in Nassau.
And while we would have loved to enjoy a day exploring Nassau, we also loved having parts of this ship nearly all to ourselves.
Now all of these areas here, if the shops were open, they would be turned around and actually have merchandise in them to buy.
Further towards the back of Deck 8, you'll find the photo gallery, where we did not have any photos to view. Just past the photo gallery, you'll find 2 more shopping destinations at the Tides and the Beauty Shop. And if you're less into shopping and more into drinking, you can just head right past all those Deck 8 shops to one of the nicest bars on the ship, the Prime Meridian Bar. We found this bar to always mix our drinks perfectly and to be the best spot on the ship for a dirty martini. Right next to the Prime Meridian, you'll find Cagney's Steakhouse, one of 2 great options for meat lovers at the back of Deck 8. While we didn't eat at Cagney's on the getaway, we did eat here on a prior cruise on Norwegian Epic and had an awesome experience. Right next to Cagney's is Moderno Churrascaria, the ship's Brazilian-style steakhouse. The menu here includes Brazilian cocktails and sides, and a wide variety of delicious grilled meats. But what surprised us about Moderno was the amazing salad bar, which included items such as baby mozzarella, heart of palm, grilled provolone, lobster bisque, smoked salmon, sushi, and this delightful shrimp salad.
Alright, so you've got a plate of some delicious looking stuff, and of course some of the lobster bisque.
So the chilled shrimp on this salad bar has to be the best chilled shrimp we have ever had. It's so good. These are probably the best beets I've ever had also.
And we also had like the best artichokes and heart of palm. Yeah.
After the salad bar, they bring a whole bunch of sides to try.
We have got garlic mashed potatoes, rice, beans, mushrooms, and fried yuca. And they have like 12 different meats to try. When we're ready to try the different meats, we flip this over, and when we're done, flip it back to red. This is filet mignon wrapped in bacon.
That looks good.
Yeah.
We finally had enough.
This piece of dessert is probably like 2 or 3 times bigger than a typical dessert on a cruise.
Hopefully it's good.
Like the people over there are saying the cake is very wet.
Very wet cake, okay.
Very wet cake.
Really good.
Now decks 9 through 14 are primarily guest staterooms with the exception of a few things like the studio lounge on decks 10 and 11 and also the kids club on deck 12.
Denied access.
Next, we're going to show you our stateroom before heading up to deck 15. Welcome to room 5611 in the Norwegian Getaway. Now, once again, we booked the cheapest category of room, which is known as best available, and usually results in a small interior room like this one. Now, as you can see, it is a little bit tight in here. I actually think this is the smallest stateroom that we've ever stayed in on a cruise ship, but that's okay because we have been out and about showing you everything that this ship has to offer. If you're somebody though that really enjoys the time in their stateroom, then it might be worth the extra money to spend and get a bigger stateroom. While this room is small, the bed is really big, and there is storage located on both sides of the bed, and there's storage behind the bed where you'll also find light switches and reading lights. Additional storage can be found in the corner and on the right side of the desk. Now across from the bed, you'll find the TV and also the closet. I was pretty impressed. I think I counted around 17 hangers. So this space is pretty nice for the size of the room. There are also shelves in here and the safe. I will note though, it is pretty small and we wouldn't be able to fit our computer in the safe. Now across from the closet is the desk or seating area. It does have a nice big mirror, and this is also where you'll find your phone, your mini fridge, your hair dryer, and American and international outlets. These are the only outlets that are in the room. Last, we're going to show you the bathroom, but I do want to point out that behind the bathroom door you have a full-length mirror, and next to the door are the buttons where you can indicate if you need your room made up or if you don't want to be disturbed. Now this bathroom is pretty standard for an interior stateroom, but it does have quite a bit of storage and also frosted glass on the shower, which is great for privacy. And inside the shower you'll find a handheld shower and also shampoo and shower gel. Now this shower is a little bit tighter than the last cruise we were on, as my elbows do touch both sides here.
Now that we've shown you our room, let's head up to deck 15. Now on deck 15, you're gonna find the gym, the spa, multiple pools, and also the complimentary buffet. Here's also where you'll find the Haven Suites. Now these are accessed by key card only, which we didn't book a Haven room, so we do not have access. Our tour of Deck 15 gets started with a trip to the Spa and Fitness Center, both of which are located towards the far north end of the ship. During our visit to the gym, we were a bit surprised to have it all to ourselves.
It's empty.
And while there was nobody in this gym, it sure wasn't due to a lack of great views. We found this gym to be broken up into 2 main sections, one primarily for cardio equipment and the other for weight training, yoga, and boxing. If you're more into getting pampered than working out, then you'll find your spot just down the hall at the Mandara Spa and Salon, along with a barbershop for the guys. Now that we've shown you the gym and the spa, we're headed outside to check out one of the most popular spots on the ship, the pool deck. And the pool deck on the Getaway was definitely the place to be, both during the day and night. Just on the other side of the main pool, you'll find another of the ship's most popular bars at the Waves Pool Bar. And while the bartenders here were constantly busy, they still made a great painkiller. Just past the Waves Bar, you'll find one of the most popular spots for children, right below the giant water slides.
Now behind me is the kids pool and also the splash pad area, which we're not going to show you a lot of because it's always full of kids.
Just past the kids pool and splash pad, and next to the entrance to the Garden Cafe, you'll find a bar that during our cruise usually wasn't too busy, plus it had fresh orange juice. At the rear of Deck 15, you'll find the massive buffet area known as the Garden Cafe, where after washing your hands, you'll have your pick of food from a number of well-identified buffet stations. Items on the breakfast buffet included bacon and sausage, biscuits and gravy, pancakes and French toast with a variety of toppings, freshly prepared omelets and fried eggs, and even an Eggs Benedict station. You'll also find vegetables and cheeses, fresh breads, plus a really impressive assortment of fruits. As the lunch buffet contained far too many delicious food items to name in a short segment of video, we're just going to show them to you. Overall, we were pretty impressed with the variety of food on this buffet, which included some of our favorite types of Chinese and Indian foods, as well as vegetarian options. Not to mention several choices of ice cream cones, toppings, and a wide selection of other desserts.
For lunch today, our favorites had to be the roast pork and the butter chicken.
And the blue cheese.
Oh yeah, and the blue cheese. It was really good.
While we didn't really eat dinner at the Garden Cafe, we did stop by one night to check out the food. We were pleased to find that the dinner buffet did offer many items that weren't on the lunch buffet, but also offered a few of our favorites that were. And even though we had no intentions of dining at the dinner buffet, we just couldn't pass on one of these slices of delicious key lime pie. We should also mention that flavored waters, lemonade, iced tea, coffee, and milk are available for each meal.
So Deck 16 is kind of a mix of random things, so we're just going to show you what you can find here.
Our first stop at the rear of Deck 16 is the Entourage Teen Lounge. Here, teenagers can find a parent-free place with games and a bar area to enjoy to themselves. Near the teen lounge at the far back of Deck 16, you'll find Spice H2O, perhaps the best spot to watch the big game either night or day. And while the giant screen sure was nice, our favorite part of Spice H2O had to be this relaxing lounge area. On the opposite side of Spice H2O, you'll find a bar, which we never ordered a drink from on our cruise as it was always very busy. Just a few steps from Spice H2O, you'll find the American Diner. The most casual of the specialty restaurants on the ship, the diner offers a simple menu including milkshakes, appetizers, handhelds, and salads. And while we never dined here, we did find the atmosphere to be pretty cool. Right next door to the American Diner is where you'll find the video arcade. While we show you around the arcade, we have a question for you. Have you sailed on a Norwegian ship before? If so, share the name of the ship and your experience in the comments below. And if you plan to sail on the Getaway soon, let us know what you're most excited for. Past the arcade, you'll find the jogging track and the entrance to the water slides. Another great spot for kids or adults who act like kids. The lines were short, and who would mind the wait with views like this? And speaking of weight, Skylar was happy to weigh in under the limit.
Gained a few pounds, but still under 300.
As the sun was almost setting and it was getting a bit chilly out, I was happy to stay dry, while Skylar generously volunteered to go down the water slides.
How'd that work?
That's fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's faster than I thought it'd be.
Cool.
While the first water slide looked pretty fun to me, this one looked a little scary.
3, 2, 1.
Running all the way around the water slides is the jogging track, which, like almost any cruise ship jogging track, is full of fantastic views. And on this day in Nassau, our view off of one side of our ship was the Royal Caribbean Independence of the Seas. And while we were sure enjoying our cruise on the getaway, we couldn't help but wonder what our neighboring ship for the day had to offer. If you follow the jogging track to the front of Deck 16 and head inside, you'll find that this area is reserved entirely for Haven guests, with the exception being Guppy's Playroom, a spot for little ones under 3. Now that we've shown you Deck 16, we're going to head upstairs to the front of Deck 17, where you'll find a sun deck and another area with restricted access.
Vibe Beach Club is an area that you have to purchase access to, but we did not, so we won't be able to show it to you. Although Skylar will try to show you as much as he can.
While we agreed that the Vibe Beach Club did look extremely nice, it also looked extremely empty. Now that you've seen Deck 17, there's just one more deck to show you at the front of the ship.
From up here on the 18th deck, you can see a little bit more of the Vibe Beach Club.
And as you can probably see, it still looked to be very empty. Although there isn't a whole lot to see on the front of Deck 18, we do have to say that this view from the sun deck is one of the best views you'll find on the ship.
Now that we've shown you decks 17 and 18 on the front of the ship, we're going to show you those same decks on the back of the ship.
In order to get from the top decks at the front of the ship to the top decks at the back of the ship, you do have to go down to Deck 16 and back up. And it's here on Deck 17 at the rear of the ship that you'll find the ropes course. After a quick change of clothes into some shorts and a t-shirt, I got my harness on and was ready to hit the ropes. It just so happened that I started the course right as the sun was setting, and the sunset views from up top on the ropes were definitely amazing. While most of this course wasn't too scary, I did find the zipline to be just a bit nerve-wracking, but also so much fun. With the exception of the ropes course, there isn't a whole lot to see at the back of Deck 17, but if you just happen to be cruising out of Port Canaveral on a day that a rocket is being launched just a few miles away, the back of Deck 17 on the Norwegian Getaway is a perfect spot to watch it. Just one more floor up on the back of the ship, you'll find the Deck 18 Sports Court, which is a popular spot to play basketball or soccer, and also to catch some beautiful sunset views.
So at this point in the video, we have shown you pretty much everything this ship has to offer, but there is still more to show you because on our itinerary, we are stopping by Great Stirrup Cay, the Norwegian Cruise Line's private island. And because on this island, you will find complimentary food, plus your drink packages will still work. It's pretty much an extension of the ship, so let's go see what it has to offer.
So in the distance you can see Coco Cay, which is Royal Caribbean's island, which we were on sometime within the last year, I think.
Our tender ride to Great Stirrup Cay was pretty rocky, but thankfully it was also pretty short, and we were soon pulling up to the picturesque island of Great Stirrup Cay. We made our way off the tender, over the bridge, and onto the private island, eager to explore and see what it had to offer. Our first stop on Great Stirrup Cay was the Bacardi Bar, which at around 10 in the morning was not busy at all. We found that this bar makes some great pina coladas and mojitos and offers some fantastic Caribbean views. And while it wasn't busy in the morning, the action sure did pick up in the afternoon. Have you visited Great Stirrup Cay or booked a cruise that's scheduled to visit the private island? If so, let us know in the comments.
Now if you keep walking, there is an area of beach that is not as busy. It's a lot calmer over here. The loud music is on the other beach area. And you can watch the zipliners go by.
So we've been on Great Stirrup Cay for 2 hours now, and we do have a couple of tips for you. The first one is get off the ship as soon as possible and head over to the Lighthouse Bar. Now this is the farthest bar from the ship, and as a result it's the least busy, especially if you show up early. It's right next to a beautiful beach. You can watch the zip liners fly by. There's restrooms close, and at 11 o'clock during our visit there's also a food truck that opened up where we got some amazing ceviche.
The food truck did offer a few other options as well. We did also try the mahi and the pulled pork sandwiches, and although both were good, our favorite was easily the ceviche. Just west of the Lighthouse Bar, you'll reach the Zipline Tower, which is right next to where the Silver Cove area begins. This exclusive area is only accessible to guests who pay extra for a villa, but thankfully you don't have to pay extra for these beautiful views.
Well, what do you think of the island?
The water's gorgeous, and the drinks are delicious.
We were a little bit amazed that we could have a beautiful section of beach almost entirely to ourselves, even in the middle of the afternoon.
Welcome to our private cabana here on Great Stirrup Cay. Just kidding, we did not pay for a cabana. This is not ours.
Be a lot cooler if it was.
If you head east from the beach cabanas, you'll eventually reach the island's buffet, known as the Jumbie Beach Grill, and although we didn't eat here, the food did look pretty good.
Another tip we got for you is that if you're a beer drinker, make sure you check out the little beverage stations on each side of the buffet. They do serve soda and beer only there, and as a result, the line moves much quicker. I also recommend trying the Brock beer and bringing your own koozie.
Next to the beverage stations, we also found dessert stations, along with this iguana who was patiently waiting for some crumbs. Another great food option can be found on the northeast corner of the island.
You can get tacos with a view here.
We found a Baco Taco to offer 3 types of tacos and a variety of condiments. And what drink goes best with tacos? Well, margaritas, of course.
I don't know which way to go.
Thankfully, we didn't have too much trouble finding the Patron Tequila Bar, which we can confirm makes an excellent margarita. After a little time sipping margaritas and taking in the views, it was time for some relaxation.
The last hour on a private island is always the best because most people have already made their way back to the ship and it gets very peaceful. It's a great time to take a nap. It's time to grab one last drink and then head back to the ship. Don't know, they might not be open anymore.
Can I still get a beer?
There's a pretty full tender heading out now. We are going to be on the very last passenger tender back to the boat.
After a wonderful day on Great Stirrup Cay, we slowly made our way back to the getaway.
Happy to be back?
Not really.
Mixed feelings.
No, pretty much all not happy.
You'd just rather stay on the island?
Yeah.
And while we may have not quite been ready for the private island experience to end, it doesn't have to for you, as you can experience the neighboring island of Coco Cay right now. Thanks for watching!